So we now begin with the concept of interrupts in microprocessors. Listen very carefully. This is a very important theme. It's a general theme applicable to all kinds of microprocessor across domains. So with 8085 specific, we will explain in detail. There is an interrupt control which we will also study in detail. So what is an interrupt first? So let us take some application. Last time we had discussed that microprocessor can be connected with some components in memory. What? It's too high. So in the last lecture, we had gone through the interfacing of some I/O location, input-output locations, input-output ports, which are mapped in few locations of memory. If few of you, out of curiosity or in order to check whether I teach correctly or not, have probed further, then that is called as memory mapped I/O. We have deliberately not touched that issue. Memory mapped I/O and I/O mapped I/O is something which used to confuse student generations altogether 3-4 decades back. So there is one pin called as IOM bar. So I would like to clarify that whatever we teach is some convenient deviation from actual microprocessor, and I am sure that once you get overall idea, you will also understand why that deviation was made. So we have not explained IOM bar pin. We have not explained in and out instructions. But what we have explained, that using LDA and STA instructions, if some memory location, that is an output port, say at FFFE, if you write something STAFFFE, whatever you output from accumulator, that appears on the pins of 8 pins. So an output port is that when microprocessor writes into it, that is available on the pins, that actual physical pins are 1 and 0. But what is input port? If microprocessor reads that, say LDAFFF8, then whatever input pin we keep, either logic, we can connect a switch. We can connect a switch to an input port. We can connect an LED to an output port. So whatever we connect as a switch, and we can keep input pin high or low, whatever we put is understood by the microprocessor with the help of LDA, that instruction. And if microprocessor wants to output something on pin lines, then it outputs on a corresponding port whose pins have come out. So if FFF8 is an input port and FFF, say C is an output, that is adhesive material, means at least one location must be there from where microprocessor should be able to read the high or low pin states put by the user, and there should be at least one port where microprocessor can indicate the result by making the pin high or low. Once microprocessor is able to make the pin high or low, on that pin you can connect LED, on that pin you can connect relay, you can drive some motor, anything is possible. Whenever there is a switch, you can connect a manual switch, or you can sense it something from some kind of other sensors. So one input port and one output port is essential for meaningful operation of the microprocessor. That is, so when we think of microprocessor system getting deployed, one input port and one output port is presumed, and that is mapped at some location in the memory. I have not yet introduced to you IOM bar pin, which I will introduce sometime later. Now we go for interrupt structure. That is very important. Suppose if that a preparation leave is there in autonomy, that concept is not there, but you may presume maybe in 12th. So last, listen very carefully, this is a concept very important. So, you are studying in your study room and some guest is expected to come to you and the door is very distant. So, what is the problem? And let us assume that mobile and all these things is not there. So, at the outside there is this bungalow and at the outside there is a gate. So gate is, since other in what we can say intruders should not come, gate is closed. You are studying. So what are you going to do? If that some broad timing is fixed that your friend is supposed to come, mobile and all these things are not there, you are studying. So what is the logic? How will you entertain your friend? How will you find out whether your friend has come? So that the purpose is that friend should not wait unnecessarily. The bungalow outside gate is there. So what are you going to do? Your preparation leave is there and you are studying like him, continuously studying. So what will happen? But at the same time, since friend is coming, you are not supposed to ignore the friend also. Are you getting me? You are supposed to study also and you are not supposed to ignore your friend also. So what do you do? Huh? Someone else to do. That luxury is not there right now. So any other answers what you give, till I get the expected answer, I will rule out those situations. So what will you do?
Which between situations? Which between situations?
Means?
Sometimes studying, sometimes.
So, right. So he is saying exactly. What will you do? You will start reading. Then after how much time you are studying study room, and let us say that the main gate is there outside Trivak Hall, there is a Sakhi Hall, and that gate is your main gate. Your guest is friend is supposed to come there. And this is all, listen very carefully, I am deliberately making the situation so as to create the need for the theme. So I am in this room studying and at the entrance gate of Sakhi Hall, my main gate is there. So for how much time will you study? And obviously, then one will ask, no, I will study there. So that is not feasible. You are very much tuned at this place and you are studying here. So how much time will you study? How much time? 10 minutes. And then you will go and check with the Laksha. So the thing is that you are in study room, your friend is going to come to you at the gate of the bungalow. So if you say that no, I will study for 1 hour and after 1 hour I will go out there and check. So what is the problem? Supposing that you start studying in study slot 10 AM you start studying and then at 11 AM now you will go and check with the friend. So if suppose your friend comes at 10:05, what will happen? He has to wait there for 55 minutes. So there is some mischievous, for a sincere student I can quote by name, I can point it out. For mischievous I will not point out because they will not feel it good. Or there is a reverse situation now, that mischievous may feel good and sincere may not feel good. Okay, anyway, and there is one mischievous fellow. So what he will do? How much time he will keep for studying? He will say that I will keep 5 minutes for studying. So 5 minutes he will study. They will go there, check, again come back. So what you are doing? Checking that someone has come there? No, liquid. He will go there and come back. So from here, going there and coming back 2 minutes. Right? So what will happen? 2 minute wastage will be there. So 5 minutes study, 2 minute wastage. So what is the advantage? That a friend doesn't have to wait. But suppose that there is some VIP friend we can say. So 5 minutes, so if you go at start at say 10 AM, 10:05 you go there, friend is not there, you come back at 10:07 and friend comes at 10:08. So now you will go at 10:12. So he has to wait for 4 minutes. That is also long. Then 2 minutes study, again go. So what will happen? Study time will be hampered.
More time wasted.
Then there will be further mischievous student. He will say that, no, he will say to your parents, no, today that friend is going to come. So another extreme, don't study, wait there for friend. Is it clear? So there is a problem that you are having some main program that is study, and watching the friend is another incidence, and both you can't do simultaneously. Both you can't do simultaneously. So listen very carefully. Watching the arrival of the friend is also one of the instruction, like how I can change this, map the situation here. There is 8085, there is memory. Listen now very carefully. We are going to address a very important theme which will remember lifelong. This is a very important concept. This is the memory. And some program is there that is going on. But what is required? There is one input port, 8 input pins are there, and there is one output port. Listen very carefully. Whenever we find a microprocessor based system, it contains memory locations which are normal in use. Some read location, some read location. At least one input port and at least one output port. Okay. So the requirement is that at pin number D0 of my input, let us map input port at FFF8 and output port at FFFC. So at pin number D0 of the input port, something is mapped which was 0 till now and it becomes 1. So 0 to 1, it is pin number D0 of port FFF8 becoming 1 is an event. And when that happens, this is main microprocessor, just like your mind. Your mind is always occupied. Even right now what you are doing, I don't know. Your mind is always occupied. Similarly, microprocessor and memory, when it is connected, microprocessor always executes some program. It executes some program, is always under execution. May it be meaningful, may it be meaningless. Read first instruction, interpret it, execute it, then read next instruction. That goes on. So some main program is always there, but this D0 of the input port becoming 1 is an event which must be monitored by me continuously. So in that case, what I am supposed to do? After every, in the main program, in my program, what I should do? I should write the instruction sequence LDA FFF8, LDA FFF8 and immediate 01 and immediate 01 and jump on no 0, and if that event happens, what you are supposed to do? You are supposed to do something else. लक्षात बाळगून सांगतो, मायक्रोप्रोसेसर एक नेहमी मेन प्रोग्राम असतो. इनपुट पोर्ट आहे FFF8 ला, त्याला D0 पिन जोडलेली आहे. तिथं काहीतरी हॅपनिंग आहे. D01 झाली की मला हातातलं सगळं काम सोडून एक दुसरं काम करायचंय. आणि नाही झाली तर काय करायचंय? मेन प्रोग्राम अभ्यास करायचा आहे. बरोबर? म्हणजे विद्यार्थ्यांचं नेहमीचं काम काय? टाइमपास. नेहमीचं काम अभ्यास. त्यामुळे मुलांनी काय केलं पाहिजे, कंटिन्यू अभ्यास करत असलं पाहिजे. आणि इथं काहीतरी झालं तर मात्र एक दुसरं काम करायचं आहे. मग आता ह्याच्यासारखा सिन्सिअर मुलगा काय म्हणेल, मी जास्त भरपूर अभ्यास करीन आणि कधीतरी इथं बघायचं आहे. सो what will do? LDAFFFA and image 01 and jump on no zero deviation. हे deviation label आहे बरं का. Means I have to do something else. I have to do something else. Jump on no zero deviation. Jump म्हणेन का call म्हणेन मी? Call म्हणेन का? I have to again come back. So call म्हणजे call पण आहे. FFF8 is read. Only in I am interested in bit number D0. So I have masked all other bits. So at the end of this instruction, if D0 pin of the input port is 0, zero flag, what will happen? If that pin is 0, zero flag will be set. So nothing is to be done. I have to continue studies. And if that pin is 1, then zero flag will not set. So in that is means I am looking for that pin to be 1. Normally pin is 0 and the event happening pin becomes 1. So I should capture that event. So jump on no zero, or I will say call on no zero. Why call? Because after that is over, friend is just going to come. You are not going to kill time with friend. You just open the door, take the friend in, and you go to your study room. So call on no zero deviation, right? And otherwise, the main program is already there. Further again, main program. And at deviation there is some other program, and the deviation program will end with what is the last instruction in the deviation program?
Return.
Right. So I thought that the purpose with which we explain all these things is somewhat successful. So at the deviation, is the deviation subroutine. Deviation subroutine, there will be something which is to be done in the event of that happening, some different set of instructions, and that will end with return. That will end with return, right? So it will come at what point? This point.
Sir, how does that ANI check whether that D0 pin is set high or low?
LDA instruction. LDAFFF8. So this port मेमरी मध्ये FFF8 लोकेशनला जे काही स्ट्रक्चर आहे त्याच्या पिन्स बाहेर आणलेले आहेत. त्यामुळे FFF8 हा ऍड्रेस आला रे आला. LD हे आणि अजून बाकीची मेमरी लोकेशन ज्याच्या पिन्स बाहेर नाही आहेत. इनपुट आणि आउटपुट पोर्ट म्हणजे काय, असं मी हे जे शिकवतोय मी ते घरी जाऊन सांगू नका ज्यांना कळत असेल तर, कारण ते आहे पोर्ट आणि गोंधळ होईल. तर इनपुट आणि आउटपुट पोर्ट म्हणजे काय, ज्या लोकेशनच्या पिन बाहेर आलेले आहेत ते इनपुट पोर्ट किंवा आउटपुट पोर्ट. अदरवाइज सगळ्या पिन बाहेर येत नाही, ते फक्त आतल्या आत होतं. So at least there should one input port which is FFF8 and one output FFFC. So LDAFFF8 म्हटल्यानंतर या पिन सोडले आपण ठेवलेलं आहे 1 किंवा 0 लॉजिकल ठेवू शकतो. काहीच ठेवलं नाही तर आपोआप 1 घेतं. आपल्याला 0 करायला काय करावं लागतं, there is switch, there is आतमध्ये पुल अप असतो, म्हणजे ही पिन जी आहे आतमध्ये असं आहे स्ट्रक्चर. आतमध्ये एक रेझिस्टन्स लावलेला असतो +5 व्होल्ट आणि इथं आलं असतं आणि ही पिन असते. मग आता ही पिन आहे, हा स्विच आहे. स्विच तुम्ही ओपन ठेवला हे लॉजिक 1 धरतात, लॉजिक 1. वाई +5 व्होल्ट, नो करंट फ्लोज, हा 5K रेझिस्टर आहे, इट इज लॉजिक 1. and when you close the switch, it is taken as logic 0 because all current flows through this and it gets 0 volts. त्याच्या काही खोलत जायची गरज नाही, अदरवाइज आपल्याला 1 वर्षाचा कोर्स करायला लागेल. So the switch is kept closed, so the input is 0. So when you open the switch, it becomes 1. So pin number D0 of FF location becoming one is an event which is to be captured, right? So here what happened? This is my, this is a group of 3 instructions which I put in between the main program frequently. What are you doing? Look here. Look here. You may or may not understand. Remember, understanding an engineering class is not a certain event. It is an event expected to be having high probability, sometimes moderate, sometimes very low. But you have what you have to do, so as to give chance that something is to be understood, you have to look at the whiteboard and listen to it carefully. म्हणजे व्हाईट बोर्ड स्मार्ट बोर्ड कडे बघत राहिलं माझे सगळे शब्द ऐकत राहिले तर कळेल याची गॅरंटी नाही, परंतु कळायची थोडीफार शक्यता असेल तर व्हाईट स्मार्ट बोर्ड कडे बघत राहिलं माझे शब्द ऐकत राहिले तर कदाचित कळू शकेल. ते कदाचित तो इव्हेंट कॅप्चर करण्याकरता ऐकत राहायचं. So this group of 3 instructions, with this I am trying to capture the happening of the event intermittently. So the question is now, how many times, wherever I should put this. My main program is there. It's a long, I hope that now you know the writing of code, a very long code you have to write. So after how much interval you will keep? So after 100 instructions, 1000 instructions or 10 instructions, like that. So ultimately there is a trade-off. What is the trade-off? If you keep this block of capturing the event at long distance in the code, what will happen? The capturing would be late. And if you keep it at short distance always, what will happen?
Main work will be less.
Means that, and that the event happening is not predictable. It may happen, it may not happen. But if it happens, you should need to capture, right? So if you keep it very close to each other after 10 instructions, unnecessarily this will be overhead because this takes some time. These 3 instructions take some time. So if they take time, say capital T1, and if you keep it after say 10 instructions, they take capital time T2. If you keep it 100 instructions, means
102.
something like, I hope you get it, right? So if you keep it much distance, the event will be captured late after happening. If you want to capture event early, you have to keep it frequently, it will be inefficient. Either non-efficient or negligent. If you want to keep the program, main program efficient, the event would be neglected. If you want to be very much vigilant, are you getting me? Either if you are to be vigilant, you are non-efficient. And if you are efficient, you are negligent. This is a trade-off. How this can be managed? So, in this scenario of the example you are studying here, at the Sati Hall the person is going to come. So, what arrangement you will make that both the purposes will be achieved? What will you do? Suggest some way. Maybe mobiles are banned right now, so you may think of, say, 5 decades back situation. What will you do? If you are 5 decades back, what kind of arrangement you will do so that without getting disturbed from studies, you will be informed about the happening of the event.
Before information that he is coming in 2 minutes.
How? That is not known. That is, if that is known, then that is, if that is known, then that is a part of program. That is something not happening like that. So what will happen? You go 5 decades back and suggest an arrangement. What signal?
Like alarm or bell.
Right. Doorbell. What is a doorbell? Listen, he has answered exactly. What is doorbell? Doorbell is an arrangement where only for a person except him it will work fine. Why? Because for him doorbell may not be of use also. Why? Because he is so concentrated and focused in his studies that he may not be able to capture the sound of the doorbell also. But that is an exception, that doesn't happen. So, what happens now? You are studying and doorbell is such an event wherein there is no need for, means when doorbell was not there, you have to go and check about happening. Doorbell arrangement is of such type that the happening of event is brought to your notice without any specific checking for it. लक्षात रखा. डोरबेल लावल्यामुळं गेटवर माणूस आला आहे का नाही हे तुम्ही चेक न करता डोरबेलचा आवाज ते तुमच्या आपोआप नजरेस आणून देतो किंवा नजरेस म्हणजे डोळे येतील लक्षात आणून देतो. सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एन इंटरप्ट. Interrupt is able to seek the attention of the microprocessor without microprocessor going to check for it. This is called as polling. Oh, I am polling the happening of the event. म्हणजे मी गेटवर जायचं आले का बघायचं. त्याच्याऐवजी डोरबेल म्हणजे मला बघायची गरज नाही, मी माझं काम करत राहायचं आणि डोरबेल वाजली की काय करायचं? पण डोरबेल वाजल्यानंतर समजा एक लाईन मी अभ्यास करतोय, मी वाचायला लागलोय, मग काय करू? लगेच तिथल्या तिथंच सोडायचं का? तिथल्या तिथंच कंप्लीट काय कंप्लीट करायचं? एक पान म्हणले हा काय करेल? पुस्तकच पूर्ण करा. डोरबेल जरी वाजली, I hope that he is also enjoying it and others are also enjoying it. This is called a win-win situation. म्हणजे ज्याची आपण चेष्टा करतो त्याला देखील गंमत वाटते आणि इतर देखील गंमत वाटते. तर हा काय करेल? नाही मला चॅप्टर संपायला पाहिजे. त्यानं अभ्यास चॅप्टर 1 सुरू केला वाचायला 2 मिनिटापूर्वी. चॅप्टर 1 संपायला अर्धा तास लागतो. बेल वाजली, तो दार उघडला कधी? चॅप्टर 1 संपल्यावर. आणि आणखी दुसरा एक्सवायझेड नोटीस असेल तर काय करेल? जिथं आहे तिथं टाकून त्याच्यात दार उघडणार. मग मीडियम काय करेल? पान वगैरे किंवा एक चॅप्टर. मग काय चॅप्टर ठेवलं तर काय होईल? इफ he waits till the end of the chapter, the very purpose interrupt will be lost. Then end of the page, or at least end of the paragraph, or end of the sentence. So like that, in this case, this is not so. There is, if such input port pins are there, they must be read by using LDA instruction. Therefore, in order to avoid this, there is a separate pin for microprocessor. For EDD5 now, we add one more pin. For EDD5, we add one more pin. The name of the pin, what we should give is, I say that disturb. Right? I will give a different name, and because I have to rename it further, so I will give the name as DIST. 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 This separate pin. Listen very carefully. This separate pin called as DIST. Disturb. So, as the name suggests, it's a disturb pin. That's what we need to do. If disturb pin is there, then the disturb pin, if when it is 0, nothing happens. The disturb pin is going to distract the attention of the microprocessor wherever it is. So, it is a pin which is automatically checked without writing any instruction at the end of every instruction. The status of the disturb pin is automatically checked by microprocessor at the end of every instruction. No time is lost. At the end of every instruction, the disturb pin is checked by microprocessor on its own before moving to next instruction. And if disturb pin is 0, there is no event, it continues with next instruction. And if disturb pin is 1, then it corresponds to something. If disturb pin is 1, it corresponds to something, and that something is what? An disturb pin becoming 1 is equivalent to some instruction. And what it can be? Call. And what should they address? It can't take you to any address which you desire. So there should be some predefined address, right? So listen very carefully. Disturb, D-I-S-T is a hardware predefined call instruction. Disturb is hardware predefined call instruction. I hope it is quite clear now. And that will depend upon microprocessor to microprocessor. Is it clear? So what is the interrupt? And listen very carefully, there are different types of interrupts also we will going to deal with. An interrupt is a hardware predefined call. So at the end of every instruction, it automatically checks the presence, and if yes, it goes to a corresponding location. Then for 8085, there are such 4 interrupts, not 1. There are such 4 interrupts. I will give their names. So disturb ही hypothetical होता. Hypothetical. आता 8085 ला actual काय ते सांगतो. Those are 4. Those are, one is track. Then restart, RST 6.5, RST 5.5, RST 6.5, and RST 7.5. These are 4 pins. Each of them is a predefined call. Hardware predefined call. याच्यातली प्रत्येक पिन 1 झाली की ऑटोमॅटिक कॉल इन्स्ट्रक्शन एक्झिक्यूट होते. लक्षात का? म्हणजे at the end of every instruction, microprocessor checks these interrupt pins. If these are 0, then it goes to the next instruction. And if one of them is 1, it is like an automatic call instruction supplied to the microprocessor. So the location addresses of these 4 are Trap 0024. I think you must be knowing what is RST 5.5? No? 002C, 0034, 003C. ट्रॅप इज लक्षात ठेवायचं म्हणून म्हणतात ट्रॅपला आरएसटी किती म्हणतात 4.5. लॉजिक काय आहे त्याला 8 ने गुणायचं 4.5 into 8 किती आले 36. हे डेसिमल कन्व्हेन्शनचं आणि 36 म्हणजे हेक्स किती नंबर कन्व्हर्जन आता तुमचं तुम्ही करायचंय तेही येत नसेल तर काही इलाज नाही त्याला 36 म्हणजे हेक्स मधले 5.5 म्हणजे 44 म्हणजे 2C 6.5 म्हणजे 56 म्हणजे सॉरी 52 आणि 7.5 to 8 म्हणजे 60 म्हणजे 3C राईट ऍक्च्युअली तुम्ही some instructions I did not cover. What those are? या instruction नहीं है. These are hardware instruction. Hardware means predefined hardware instruction. Predefined call instruction आहे या instruction हवे. पण आपल्या instruction मध्ये थोडा instruction आहे सांगायचे राहून गेले. कुठल्या त्या? In the instruction set, some instructions, conditional instructions on पॅरिटी अँड साइन फ्लॅग मी डेलिबरेटली सांगितलेलं आहे तुमच्या तुम्ही करा आणि थोड्या इन्स्ट्रक्शन आले त्या कुठल्या त्या RST 0 to RST 7 त्या इन्स्ट्रक्शन आहेत बरं का लिस्ट व्हेरी केअरफुली RST 0 RST 1 to RST 2 3 4 या 5.5 6.5 7.5 या पिन्स आहेत आणि RST 0 to RST 7 या इन्स्ट्रक्शन्स आहेत त्या काय इन्स्ट्रक्शन्स आहेत RST 0 to RST 7 are single byte call instructions RSTN where n is from 0 to 7 so it is RSTN is a single byte call instruction which is call 8n right आणि एवढं आता ऍट दिस स्टेज एवढं कळलंच पाहिजे आता कळत नाही म्हणून तर काय पर्याय नाहीये ओके सो हे आता मी सांगायला पाहिजे होतं माहित नाही आता नाही कळलं नसेल तर सोडून द्या सो व्हॉट इज अन इंटरप्ट is a group of pins which are automatically checked by the microprocessor at the end of every instruction and if it has gone high आता त्यामध्ये सुद्धा एज ट्रिगर्ड लेवल ट्रिगर्ड एज अँड लेवल ट्रिगर्ड असे भरपूर ऑप्शन्स आहेत ते आता if we try to go into very deep details we will not be able to cover so I will discuss broadly. So interrupt is an event which forces the notice of the microprocessor because microprocessor checks at the end of every instruction. And if these are low, then nothing happens. If these are high, it is equivalent to call instruction. And it takes place. So program automatically goes there, performs the task, and comes back to main program. Now you ask some questions which must come in your mind.
So ते ट्रॅक समजा झालं त्या 4 पिन मध्ये आला आपण डेटा ते दुसऱ्या ऍड्रेसवर ते कॉल होणार कसं ते इन्स्ट्रक्शन लिहायला लागेल ना आपल्याला
That's what I said. An interrupt is an hardware call. सांगतो थिंग इज नॉट देअर. आय एम गिव्हिंग हायपोथेटिकल इन्स्ट्रक्शन. समजा तुम्ही आता भरपूर अभ्यास तुम्हाला सगळं आता ह्या सेमिस्टरभर तुम्ही वर्गात येणार, अभ्यास ऐकणार सगळं, मग तुम्हाला थोडंफार कळणार. बरोबर आहे? म्हणजे कळण्याकरता काय करायला लागतं, हे खरं असं नसेल माहित नाही, कळण्याकरता वर्गात यायला लागतं, वर्गात येऊन ऐकायला लागतं, मग तुम्हाला कळतं. मग आता मी मगच टाकलं तुम्हाला डिफॉल्टर झाला एखादा मुलगा, आता काही कळत नाही, मग तो गाय करताला बरं ठीक आहे तुला सांगितलं डिफॉल्टर होते, पण कळणार कसं त्याला? आर यू गेटिंग मी? लक्षात आलं ना? So, the normal understanding process is coming to a class and listening so that you attain some state in which everything is appropriately mapped. नेमकं कळतं म्हणजे काय हेच कळत नाही, म्हटलं आपण पुढे जाऊया. मग आता तो असा अगदी डिफॉल्टर म्हणजे मग वर्गात आलाच नाही किंवा कधी आला असा मुलगा आला, त्याला परीक्षेला बसायचं आहे आणि कॉपी वगैरे काही शक्य नाही, तर जर पास त्याला वर्गात आलेलं नाही, त्याला अद्याप काही कळलेलं नाही, अनफेअरनेस कुठलीही पॉसिबल नाही, आणि त्याला परीक्षेला बसून पास व्हायचंय, मग काय त्याला लॉजिक काय करायचं? त्याला तो कोणाकडे जाईल सांगा बरं? अरे एवढं आता एवढे चर्चा होतं काय पाहिजे तुम्हाला, तो कोणाकडे जाईल? प्लीज ना यू एक्सपेक्ट मगाशी आपण विन चेष्टा तरी करतो, तेवढं सांगा तो कोणाकडे जाईल? तो ह्याच्याकडे. बरोबर? लिसन विथ थीम इज इम्पॉर्टंट. त्यातला एक गमतीचा भाग सोडून द्या. आणि तुम्ही रेकी हे उदाहरण देतोय तो कुठे अंधश्रद्धा म्हणून मी तिकडे रेकी तक्रार करा. रेकी शब्द तुम्ही ऐकलाय? ऐकलाय कोणी रेकी? नाही ऐकला? की असा डोक्यावर हात ठेवतात आणि जे काही आहे ते सगळं ट्रान्सफर करतात. तर तो ऍबसेंट मुलगा आहे, जर काही कळलं तर तो काय करणार, तर तो ह्याच्याकडे येणार. मग आता काय म्हणजे तू मला सगळं शिकव, पण त्याला अभ्यास आहे, त्यामुळं तुझ्या डोक्यात हात ठेवणार, अशी त्याला सिद्धी प्राप्त झाली आहे. लिसन, थीम इज इम्पॉर्टंट. आय गेन थीम इज इम्पॉर्टंट. मग त्यानं डोक्यात हात ठेवला की तो जो डिफॉल्टर मुलगा होता त्याची आधी स्टेट काय होती, काही कळलं नव्हतं. आणि ह्याच्याकडे असं टेक्निक आहे की ह्यानं डोक्यावर हात असा ठेवला की सगळं ट्रान्सफर झालं, की त्याची स्टेट कशी झाली, त्याला सगळं कळलं. दुसऱ्या हा वर्गात बसला ह्याला कळलंय, हा वर्गात बसला होता ह्याला रेग्युलर कळलेला आहे, हा वर्गात आलेला नव्हता, ह्याच्या डोक्यावर हात ठेवला आणि ह्यालाही सगळं कळलं. समजावं ह्याला कसं कळलं, वर्गात बसून कळलं, आणि ह्याला कसं कळलं, वर्गात बसता कळलं. तर ज्या नॉर्मल इन्स्ट्रक्शन जे आहेत, कॉल समथिंग, त्या इन्स्ट्रक्शन्स आहेत. त्या कॉल इन्स्ट्रक्शन आहे म्हणजे काय, कॉल इन्स्ट्रक्शन वाचल्यानंतर मायक्रोप्रोसेसर कळते की आता मी हे करायचंय. सो स्टेट ऑफ मायक्रोप्रोसेसर at the end of call instruction is store current address of the program pointer on stack and go to the given location, branch to the given location. So the state of the microprocessor which is after the reading of call instruction, the interrupt is able to bring the microprocessor into that state without reading of call instruction, as he has brought this student into the state of understanding everything even though he has not attended the lectures. लक्षात का, यानं लेक्चर अटेंड केलेला कळलेला आहे, यानं लेक्चर अटेंड केली नसताना देखील याची जी स्थिती आहे त्या स्थितीला लावून ठेवलेला आहे. सो इट इज इम्प्लाइड. सो instruction is not there. RS trap means when trap becomes hard, the moment at which at the end of current instruction microprocessor finds that the trap pin has gone high, microprocessor goes into the state as if it has read the instruction call 0024. लक्षात आलं का? सध्या मराठीत सांगतो, सध्या सुरू असलेल्या इन्स्ट्रक्शनच्या शेवटच्या मशीन सायकलच्या शेवटच्या क्लॉक सायकलच्या फॉलिंग एजच्या वेळी मायक्रोप्रोसेसर सगळे इंटरपिन चेक करतो आणि त्यावेळी जर ट्रॅप पिन 1 झालेली असेल तर जणू काही कॉल 0024 इन्स्ट्रक्शन वाचली आहे त्या स्थितीला मायक्रोप्रोसेसर जातो. लक्षात आलं? पुन्हा सांगतो, मायक्रोप्रोसेसर if at the end of the current instruction cycle microprocessor finds that the trap pin has gone high, then microprocessor automatically goes to that state as if it has read the instruction 0024. Means a student after getting Reiki treatment from the topper goes to the state as if he has attended all the lectures. Right? He has not attended the lectures, but the effect of Reiki is as if he has attended the lectures. So call 0024 instruction is not there in anywhere in the program, but finding of trap going high takes the microprocessor to that state as if it has read the instruction call 0024.
Yes, sir.
And then what will it do? What is the next step? If trap is found high, number 1, microprocessor will not go to next instruction immediately, but it will execute. Means what would be the next step of microprocessor after finding trap going high?
Complete the rest of work and
No, rest of it is already completed because it checks at the end of instant cycle only. So
direct calling.
कॉल इन्स्ट्रक्शनच्या तो कुठल्या मशीन सायकलला जाईल? कॉल किती बाईटची मशीन सायकल आहे? कॉल किती बाईटची इन्स्ट्रक्शन आहे? 3 बाईट. आणि किती मशीन सायकल आहे? 5. M1 ला काय? रीड ऑफ कोड. M2 ला रीड लोअर बाईट, M3 ला रीड हायर बाईट, M4 ला काय? M4 ला स्टोअर डिक्रीमेंट स्टॅक पॉइंटर and store higher byte of the program counter on stack. आणि M5 ला further decrement program counter and store lower byte for further decrement stack pointer and store lower byte of the program counter on stack. So if the trap is found high at the end of current instruction, what microprocessor will do? It will go to which machine cycle of call 0024 instruction? That is M4. म्हणजे सध्या चालू असलेल्या प्रोग्राम मध्ये ज्या क्षणी ट्रॅप हाय जाईल त्या इन्स्ट्रक्शनची एंड झाल्या, एंडला चेक करतो मध्ये नाही, त्या इन्स्ट्रक्शनच्या एंड झाला, नेक्स्ट मशीन सायकल विल बी M4 ऑफ कॉल 0024. म्हणजे करंट प्रोग्राम will be stored on stack, decrement stack pointer, higher byte will be stored, decrement stack lower byte will be stored, and then program going to become 0024. आता इथं 0024 आहे, त्यानंतर 002C आहे, मग इथं प्रोग्राम जाते जास्त, याच्यानंतर हे पण आहे 4 आहेत ऍक्च्युअल. मग इथं काय देणार आपण? जम्प समजूया. आणि तुम्ही मोठ्या प्रोग्राम, इथं मोठा प्रोग्राम येत नाही का? इथं तुम्हाला वेगळं लिहायचंय, तर इथं काय देणार तुम्ही? जम्प समजूया. इथे ना jump somewhere, इथे ना jump somewhere, right? Now, how many? If 8 interrupts are प्रश्न होता, how many interrupts are there? 4 interrupts are there. Then what will happen? प्रश्न विचारा तुम्ही, अडचणी मला म्हणजे अडचण निर्माण करणारा. There are 4 interrupts. Then what will happen? At the end of current instruction cycle, what is likely? सध्याची जी इन्स्ट्रक्शन संपली त्यानंतर 4 इंटरप्ट्स आहेत. काय पॉसिबिलिटीज आहेत? कुठलीच इंटरप्ट लाईन 1 नाहीये, किंवा एक 1 आहे, किंवा मीन्स समजा 2 बेल आहेत, VIP डोअर आणि साधा डोअर, आणि दोन्ही एकदम वाजल्या, तर तुम्ही काय करणार? VIP डोअर, राईट? सो द प्रायोरिटी स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ इंटरप्ट्स, ट्रॅक हायेस्ट प्रायोरिटी.
4.5.
थोडं चुकलंय लिहितं ना, इथं लिहितं सेव ते बदलायला नको आता. Track highest priority, then 7.5, 6.5, 5.5. Track highest and then like this. These are called as vector interrupts because each of the interrupt is associated with a predefined call instruction. Each of the interrupt is associated with predefined call instruction. Right. Now, next is very important. That is very specific to 8085.
सर आता ते ट्रॅक मध्ये जाऊन दुसऱ्या ऍड्रेसवर जम्प होतात, मग रिटर्न होतात कसं? पुन्हा इथे येऊन तेच जागायचं,
पुन्हा कुठे येणार?
पुन्हा या ऍड्रेसवर येऊन वापस जाणार.
नाही, नॉट नेसेसरी. इथं पण कॉल येत नाही, इथे जम्प येतो.
हां, मग तिथून डायरेक्ट
What is stored on stack? The address of the main program from where it is diverted. इथं जम्प करायचं, इथं ही लोकेशन जवळ आहेत म्हणून जम्प यायला लागतं. ही लांब असते लागली नसतं कदाचित. ओके. Now there is next interrupt which is specific to 8085. Now, very important. I will introduce the theme first. And so the recording is not there, so because the battery is going down, so but the lecture will continue for some time. There is very interesting pin called as for 8085. It is INTR, interrupt INTR. There are 4 interrupts, they are vector interrupts. And INTR is the next interrupt is called as non-vector interrupt. It's very important. It is very specific to 8085. In further version of